I knew the Celtics were going to go to work today. I knew it. I just knew it. I knew that Jrue Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis were going to be gone at some point. Not this early, but eventually. They were trying to move those contracts because they felt like they paid them too much money to receive the production that they received. Let's just say that, right? So, now Jrue Holiday was traded for Anthony Simons, and now we have a 3-team deal. So the Atlanta Hawks acquired Kristaps Porzingis in a second-round pick. The Nets acquired Terrence Mann in Atlanta's number 22 overall pick. And then the Celtics got Gorgas Niang in a second-round pick. So each team swaps second-round picks. Yeah, I knew Boston was going to trade Kristaps immediately. Right after that, because you got to think about this. Kristaps Porzingis has not been healthy. He is a defensive liability of sorts. And he's always missing games. Boston already lost Tatum. And they knew that they couldn't depend on an older Jrue Holiday and a brittle Kristaps Porzingis if they're even going to survive next season without Tatum. Well, maybe the first 3/4 of the season without Tatum. Let's just say that. But the Celtics, wow. So let's start with the Hawks acquiring Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, yes, it's help for Ice Trae. Ice Trae wants a lob threat, which Porzingis can be if healthy. That's the thing. That's the scary part and the risk in this. This is Trae Young's last hope. This could get them to the play-in. They're still a play-in team. Hawks have a little bit more work to do before, you know what I'm saying? What up, dude? Yeah, man. Hawks have a lot more work to do. Because now, okay, you got Porzingis, who's relatively going to be playing the 5. With Jalen Johnson, who's healthy, that can win them some games in the Eastern Conference that's going to be wide open. Because you got to think about it. Damian Lillard might be out for all next season. Tyrese Halliburton is out for all next season. Jason Tatum is probably going to be out for 3/4 of the year, if not. All right, that's it. I don't like being demanded to do shit on my channel, nigga. But anyway, Hawks will probably trade Kristaps Porzingis to another team. I don't know, because the Hawks wanted a lob threat. They wanted a 5. And that's what he'll be playing. I mean, he's 7'3" for crying out loud. That nigga just gonna have to bulk up, because I don't understand, like, why does this dude keep getting hurt? I mean, me personally, my gut feeling is that he shows up to training camp out of shape. That could be the only thing. And then, he played with some unnamed virus. You can teach height. Hey, man, that's something that you're born with, dog. I get that. But the Hawks wanted a 5. They're not going to bring back Clint Capella. If they do, I'd be surprised. Because they already got Jalen Johnson playing the 4. Sometimes, what do they call that? The point forward at times. I understand what the Hawks are trying to do. This is good enough to get to a couple of play-in games, maybe an 8 seed. But they need to make another move, because this ain't enough. They need another guard, which is why I think the Hawks should acquire Jalen Green too. That's what I think they should do. They should acquire Jalen Green. What's up, Ohio? But yeah, man, crazy. But, this is a risk. Atlanta tried with DeJounte Murray and it didn't work, you know? But if Porzingis can play 60 games, maybe 7 seed, maybe. But I don't think that dude plays 55 games. I don't see it happening. It's always going to be something. And I guess with this move, do y'all think that they're going to keep Onyeka Okongwu? Because I think you should keep him just in case Porzingis gets hurt. Okongwu's very productive. He's young. He's fast as fuck. He can run that point. He can hit that three. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the East is bad because you got to think about it. Like I said, Celtics are not going to win 60 games next year. They barely might win 50 if you think about it. The Hawks could come up, though, because of the East weakness, because obviously, you got Dame gone for most of the year, if not the entire year. Tyrese is gone for most of the year. I still think Indiana can win 42, 43 games, though, without Tyrese. I think they could still, be in the playoffs, but they won't be as great as they was last year. This is a good year for Cleveland to come up, because Cleveland, every time it's a time for them to rise to the occasion, they always choke. Every time. Every motherfucking time. Oh, hell no. There's no way in hell I'm going to give a early Eastern Conference Finals prediction. Ain't no fucking way, dog. And then plus, on top of that, you got to wait until the season begins, until everybody is done. Everyone's not done yet. Everyone's not done yet, bro. This is just early, If it would be today, I couldn't even fucking tell you. No way, no how. Oh, yeah, for sure. A lot of moves to be made because, like I said, I'm discussing the Hawks part of the trade because I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to do. I think the Hawks, in order for this shit to work, for the Hawks to be, respectable, they should go get Jalen Green, too. They have enough assets to go and get Jalen Green. And Trey needs a backcourt partner that's younger. And I think Jalen Green is the guy. Jalen Green, you can't depend on him to carry a team, but you can depend on him to be secondary and to take some scoring pressure off of Trae Young because, Green and Trae Young are going to get pissed on like Cassie, okay? They're going to get killed on the defensive side of the court. But offensively, hopefully they make up for it. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Dyson Daniels, too. That's what I'm saying. I understand all that. I mean, Dyson could, come off the bench. He wouldn't mind that. And then he could start certain games that require defense. Oh, hell yeah. Bruh. Quinn Snyder should have been fired. He should have been fired 3 years ago. Quinn Snyder, I don't understand how guys like Quinn Snyder, guys like Billy Donovan, keep their job and their team remains mediocre. Oh, but let that shit be Doc Rivers. Let that be Mike Brown. Let that be Frank Vogel. Let that shit be Mike Budenholzer. They fired within the first season. But Billy Donovan and Quinn Snyder can keep their coaching jobs. A fucking recreation coach, an AAU coach, can coach NBA players better than those two jackasses. They can. Billy Donovan and Quinn Snyder are amongst the worst coaches in the league. Hands down. What's happening? But yeah. Okay, now the Nets got Terrence Mann in Atlanta's pick in the draft, I believe it was. Hey, another role player. I'm going to tell you something. Do I think Halliburton smokes weed? I have no idea. Definitely a drinker, though. If healthy. You got to think about if healthy, y'all. That starting five you just did, that starting five right there, they could make the playoffs. They got to go to the play-in, though. They got to go through the play-in, though. They're going to have to be probably 7th or 8th. Oh, yeah, I forgot about Orlando. Orlando's going to come up off of those injuries, too. Orlando and Detroit. They're going to be much better next year. Orlando is a sleeper to come out the East. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. They do. They might be a 6th man away from being a championship contender. And now people are going to take advantage of the Celtics, the Magic, and the Bucks for being without their guards and their forwards, of course. Without their star players, I should say better. But, man. But, mark my words, in 3 years, the Brooklyn Nets are going to be a good team. Because they're already thinking about re-signing Cam Thomas. They got 3 picks. Wait, I think they got 4 picks in this draft. Yeah, they got 4 picks in this draft. I think they got 5 now because I think they got Atlanta's pick now. So, damn. These motherfuckers got 5 first-round picks in tomorrow's draft. And not to mention cap space. I'm not saying that there's a line waiting to sign to Brooklyn, but maybe they can grab a key free agent this season outside of the ones that they have to re-sign. Don't mind that alarm in the background. And a person that's suggesting that I need a barber that doesn't show their own profile picture is insecure. I'm secure enough to show my face. You're not secure enough to show your face. Show me that you got a nice lineup, brother, and then you could talk. You got anything to say about this trade, though? since you're bringing bad jokes into the chat. But back to what I was saying before I was interrupted by that dumbass. So back to the topic at hand. Now the Celtics getting Gorgas Niang, that's the underrated pickup of this shit. Gorgas Niang, he can make shots throughout the fucking game. But don't depend on Gorgas Niang to be clutch. That's all I'm saying. He can make shots down the stretch, like first quarter, third quarter and shit. Gorgas Niang is an underrated pickup for the Celtics, especially when Tatum comes back, when Niang can help Tatum and Brown stretch the floor and hit those threes. And he's an aggressive motherfucker too. And he's 6 fouls. He's not afraid to use his fouls. So this is a pretty good pickup. It's a good swap. Niang's contract, he ain't making that kind of money. So they just dumped a shit ton of salary. You gotta give Brad Stevens his props. He's doing his job. He's like, okay, we got to shed salary. We paid these motherfuckers way too much. We paid these people way too much money. You know, we got to get rid of old ass Drew. I mean, he helped us win a title. You know, Porzingis helped us win a title. It is what it is, G. I feel like, I mean, honestly, the winner of this trade is the Celtics. Crazy as it sounds. I mean, the Nets do get a nice role player in Terrence Mann. He's going to get a lot more opportunities to hit baskets. Hey, Terrence Mann might win Most Improved Player next year. That's right. That's true. And I think that Atlanta has the assets to trade for Jalen Green, and that's why they need to pick him up. You understand? Yeah, man. But I think the Celtics won the deal because they shed a lot of salary within the last 24 hours. You know, you saw that Simons is a Celtic too. Don't forget about Anthony Simons. Now you make up for the absence of Jason Tatum scoring. You get Simons, who's an easy 20. Do I call it a highway robbery? All the trades depends on who you talk to as far as whether it's a highway robbery. Do I think Desmond Bane was worth all that? Fuck no. But at the same time, when you want somebody to join your team and you got 3 other guys like Suggs, like what's his name? Like Poilo, like France. When you got 3 guys like that and you add a Desmond Bane who can average 20 and defend the other team's best player, sometimes you may have to go overboard. Look at what New York got for Mikal Bridges. New York as that collective did not go to the Eastern Conference Finals with that group yet. Once they traded 5 picks for Mikal Bridges, yeah, because they're throwing those picks because they don't need the picks. New York is already a contender. They're not focused on their future yet. Memphis is focused on their future. You know what I'm saying? Orlando has their future. They drafted a young core. They drafted those 3 young guys and added a veteran piece to it. And that's what the shit is all about. Look at Houston. They did the same exact thing for Kevin Durant. We got our future. We got Cam Whitmore. We got Alperen Sengun. We got Reed Shepherd. We got Tari Eason. That's true. And I think that's what Boston's doing. Boston now, you know, you got Simons, you got White now, you got Brown, you got Niang now, who could probably start at the 4, and then maybe Horford. That's right. Yeah. That's what we learned about this year's finals is you need depth to win. Indiana was deep as hell. OKC was deep as hell. You need depth in case an injury happens, like a Dame, like a Halliburton, like a Tatum. And Boston, you know, I'm not saying that Simons and Niang make up for Tatum's production, but it helps. It helps Boston win, I don't know, say 45, 46 games next year. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, and it's not, you won't win losing a star. That's not true. That's not true at all. The fucking Thunder traded Paul George, who was a superstar at the time, who actually had his best season, for Shea. Shea was, you know, he wasn't drafted by OKC, but he became homegrown. LeBron, that's funny. I'll let that joke slide. But nice try though. Yeah, I think that Boston low-key, yeah, I get it. Simons is in his final form. But the good thing about Simons is his contract expires next year. That's the good thing. So if he doesn't work out in Boston, then, you know, they could let him go and they could go get another player. They could sign another free agent. Yes, you need 2 stars, but sometimes, you know what I mean, you just need 1 in some cases with a bunch of role players that know how to do their job, because you got to think about it. Tyrese Halliburton wasn't an all-star this year. Pascal Siakam was the only all-star. They made it all the way to the finals. That's not true either. It just depends on how your team is structured and everybody's role. Yeah, that's right, man. Fuck them super teams. 2 stars, bunch of role players, and it's a wrap. Yeah, that super team shit is done for. Like, I understand what you're saying with Simons, though. He has to prove himself this year. This is the year right here. This is the first time that he's been on a team where it's pressure. Boston will put crazy pressure on you because they won the most championships. This is the first time that he will be under scrutiny. Simons didn't face no media attention in Portland. But I still think Boston could win 45, 46 games, though, next year. Atlanta, I think, like I said, teams like Orlando and Detroit, those are two teams to watch out for. But yeah, I've been talking too goddamn long. I'm going to get the fuck up out of here. Thank you guys for chatting with me. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. All my videos, you can check my description, you know, the donations and all that. I would appreciate it. Yes, I'll respond to this last comment and I'm a rock. But yeah, thank you, Pablo, man. I see you with a lot of my chat, man. Salute to Pablo, man. But yeah, all-star caliber. I think that, you know, when he comes back, he'll be voted as an all-star. But Halliburton, he wasn't voted an all-star because he was very up and down, just like he was throughout the playoffs. You know, Siakam was the all-star, and they carried them all the way to the finals. But I'm going to get up out of here, man. This is a crazy-ass trade, y'all.